Mathematics Class 12 Chapter 7 Integrals. Integration is the inverse process of differentiation. In the integration we are given derivative of a function and asked to find its primitive or original function. Such a process is called integration or antiderivative. Suppose you are given this fx, but this fx is derivative of some function, and by using some formulas we find the integral and we get this primitive or original function back. So that process is called integration. So d by dx of capital Fx equal to fx, this is given to us, and integration fx dx, when we do this process of integration we get the primitive function back fx plus c. We put here plus c. Why we put plus c? Because when you are differentiating this, the derivative of any constant becomes 0. So this is my constant which was there, but it has become 0 while doing the process of differentiation. So when you are doing the integration, this constant of derivative will come here. So constant of integration, sorry, this is constant of integration, this is called constant of integration. This is any arbitrary number, and such a integral we call it as an indefinite integral. Symbolically we write integration fx dx. This is the integration symbol. Dx means with respect to x and fx is called integrand. It can be with respect to y also. Geometrical interpretation of indefinite integral. An indefinite integral is collection of family of curves, each of which is obtained by translating one of the curves parallel to its upward or downward along the y-axis. That means if, see, as I said here, this is a c is a constant of integration. So as the value of c changes, I will get many curves, but they will be parallel to each other. Okay, they will be parallel to each other. See, for example, here they have given us fx equal to 2x. I am going to use a formula. This formula, integration x power n dx given as x power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Okay, and plus c. C is arbitrary constant. We can take any value. Okay, so n plus 1. Instead of n, I am taking the example that I have got 1. So if I use here 1 plus 1, that is x square, and here 1 plus 1, that is 2. So I will write here 2x square by 2, that 2 will cut. So what I get integration is x square plus c, the constant of integration. So as the c value varies, I will get different functions. Okay, the primitive function, these functions I will get many as c value varies. I can take 1, I can take 2, 3, 4, minus 1, minus 2, 0. So these are the family of curves. See, for different values of c we get different integrals. Let us see it in the diagram. It's given in your textbook, the same function. See, y is equal to x cube, x square plus 3, x square plus 2. The value of c is changing. X square plus 1, x square minus 1, x square minus 2, x square minus 3. So you see, these are the curves we have parallel. So if you go upward or downward, you will get the family of curves. Now if you draw a perpendicular line here, and at this intersection point, if you draw the tangent, then all the tangents will be parallel. So this is the geometrical interpretation of the integrals, indefinite integrals. Next we have got property of indefinite integral. Number 1. The process of differentiation and integration are inverse of each other. That means d by dx of integral fx dx is equal to fx. That means they are inverse of each other. So, or they inverse means they cancel each other, you can say. And instead of fx, I'll take derivative first. So f dash x is a derivative, and I find integral of that, then also I'll get fx plus c. Okay. Now let us prove this. Let f be any derivative of f. Now if I say f is derivative of f, means d by dx of fx equal to f of x. Then integral fx dx is equal to fx plus c. Okay, this value I am using, integral fx dx equal to fx plus c. Differentiate both the sides, so d by dx of integral fx dx is equal to d by dx of fx plus c. Derivative of c will be 0, so I will get d by dx of fx. But from here, d by dx of capital Fx is small fx, so we put equal to f of x. So we have found d by dx of integral fx dx is equal to f of x. Similarly, f dash x is equal to d by dx of fx. Integral, if I integral here, integral f dash x dx is equal to integral and derivative will cancel, so you get fx plus c. So we can say that integration and differentiation are inverse of each other. Property number 2. Two indefinite integrals with the same derivative lead to the same family of curves, and so they are equivalent. So you have got two indefinite integral who have got same derivative, then you call them that they will be equivalent. They will be from the same family, so we can call that they are equivalent. So let f and g be functions such that d by dx of integral fx dx equal to d by dx of integral gx dx. Both are same. Transfer this here, so you get minus, this side is d by dx of integral fx dx minus d by dx of integral fx dx equal to 0. D by dx can take common, integral fx dx minus integral gx dx. Now we know that derivative of any constant is 0. Now I have found d by dx of this bracket term equal to 0. Derivative of this bracket term 0. That means I can say this bracket term whatever is there should be some constant, and that constant I call it c, capital C. So I call this integral fx dx minus integral gx dx equal to c. Minus integral gx dx transfer here becomes plus fx integral gx dx plus c. So what we can say that therefore the family of curves integral fx dx plus c1 and integral gx dx plus c2 are identical. Therefore in this sense integral fx dx and integral gx dx are equivalent. Property number 3, integral fx plus gx dx, then this integral can be given to the first function and integral can be given to second function. So integral fx dx plus integral gx dx. By property 1, d by dx of integral fx plus gx dx, these they are inverse of each other, so they cancel and you will get fx plus gx, call it number 1. On the other hand, d by dx of integral f of x dx plus integral gx dx, okay, I am taking this and find the derivative. Now we know the rule of derivative, you can differentiate each function separately, so I differentiate here plus q differential here. So d by dx of integral fx dx plus d by dx of integral gx dx. Integral derivative cancel, so fx. Integral derivative cancel, so gx. So from 1 and 2, what we can say that integral fx plus gx dx equal to integral fx dx plus integral gx dx. If it is negative also you can give, and if it is more than 2 function also this property is true. So we can write as a general that it can have more than 2 functions and also for negative value, not only plus but minus also. Property 4, for k belongs to R, that is any constant k, integral k fx dx, k can be taken out of the integral, k times integral fx dx. By property 1, d by dx of integral k fx dx, these cancel each other, so you get k fx. Also d by dx of k integral f of x dx. By integration, differentiation we know that you can take constant out of the differential. So I can take out, so k times d by dx of integral fx dx. Derivative integration cancel each other, so you get k into f of x. Using property 2, integral k fx dx is equal to k times integral fx dx. Standard formula of integrals. These integral formulas you are supposed to remember and use for the calculation. Integration x power n dx is equal to x power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1 plus c. Integral dx, that means 1 dx equal to x plus c. Integral cos x dx is sin x plus c. Integral sin dx is minus cos x plus c. Integral sec square x dx equal to tan x plus c. Integral cos x square x dx equal to minus cot x plus c. Integral sec x tan x dx equal to sec x plus c. Integral cosec x cot x equal to minus cosec x. Integral dx divided by square root of 1 minus x square equal to sin inverse x plus c, and this has got another answer minus cos inverse x plus c. So for this either of these we can use. Integral d by dx of 1 plus x equal to tan inverse x plus c or minus cot inverse x plus c. So for this also any of these answer is correct. Integral dx divided by x square root of x square minus 1, this can be sec inverse x plus c or minus cosec inverse x plus c. Integral e power x dx equal to e power x plus c, and 1 by x, integral 1 by x dx equal to log of x plus c. Integral a power x dx equal to a power x log a. This derivative, these integrals are found or by comparing with differentiation are written, okay, because we know that they are inverse of each other, so using that fact these integrals are written, okay, it's written, both the ways are written in your textbook, you can just have a look. Exercise 7.1, find antiderivative by using method of inspection. Number 1, sine 2x. We are not going to use the formulas which I gave you just now, but we are going to use inspection, method of inspection. So what we do here, we look for a function whose derivative is sine 2x. Now we know that cos derivative is sine, so I will use d by dx of cos 2x. I will find the derivative. So we know cos derivative actually it is minus sine 2x, and you have to do 2x once again, that is d by dx of 2x, which gives you 2, so minus 2 sine 2x. Now you are going to find the antiderivative of sine 2x. So what you are going to do, I don't need minus 2, so you transfer this side, so it comes minus 1 by 2 d by dx of cos 2x is equal to sine 2x. This minus 1 by 2 you can take inside, so d by dx of minus 1 by 2 cos 2x is equal to sine 2x. So we can say that this value, this is the antiderivative of sine 2x. Therefore an antiderivative of sine 2x is this one, minus 1 by 2 cos 2x. Question 2, cos 3x. Now here also same way, we look for a function whose derivative is cos 3x. Now we know derivative of sine is cos, so I will start with that, d by dx of sine 3x. Then differentiate this, derivative of sine is cos 3x. You have to do 3x, that is d by dx of 3x, which gives you 3 cos 3x. You have to find the antiderivative of cos 3x. So these 3 is extra, which you transfer here, it will go 1 by 3. 1 by 3 d by dx of sine 3x equal to cos 3x. Take inside the differential, so d by dx 1 by 3 sine 3x equal to cos 3x. Therefore this is the antiderivative of this. Therefore an antiderivative of cos 3x is 1 by 3 sine 3x. Question number 3, e power 2x. We look for a function whose derivative is e power 2x. d by dx of e power 2x. We know e power x is e power x, so I know that e power 2x derivative will be e power 2x. So I take d by dx of e power 2x equal to e power 2x. But it is not only this much. You have to differentiate 2x once again. So d by dx of 2x, which gives you 2. Now in your question 2 is not there. So you transfer 2, it will go 1 by 2. 1 by 2 d by dx of e raised to 2x. Inside you take, so you get it as d by dx of 1 by 2 e power 2x. So this is the antiderivative of e power 2x. Therefore an antiderivative of e power 2x is 1 by 2 e power 2x. Question number 4, ax plus b whole square. We look for a function whose derivative is ax plus b whole square. So we know that if it is c square, then I know that if power is 3, then it becomes square when you differentiate. So I will take d by dx of ax plus b power 3. Then you differentiate, so 3 ax plus b whole square. Again you do this ax plus b. So when you do ax plus b, x will be 1, a will be remain as it is, b will become 0. So you get from here 3 into ax plus b whole square. Now you are asked only for the square power, this power, okay, this value, not 3a. So 3a is extra, you transfer over this side, it will go in the denominator. 1 by 3a d by dx of ax plus b whole cube equal to ax plus b square. That means you take inside, so d by dx of 1 by 3a ax plus b whole cube equal to ax plus b square. So this is the antiderivative of this. Therefore an antiderivative of ax plus b whole square is 1 by 3a ax plus b whole cube. So there is one more question using similar way. You can try yourself. If you cannot do, I will do it. So we'll keep this much. Thank you very much.